And let me know when you see it. Hello, people. This is for Marathi's benefit, so. Can you see it, Marathi?
I'm waiting in the video going live. It's been derpy.
Okay, so while you're waiting,
That's totally a surprise, isn't it?
yeah. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you want these little bits on the side to be out and on its own separate model, and then the top part be its own separate model. I'm going to copy this model 3 times and then just take out the bits that you don't need in each one. So there'll be their 3 own little things. And then after that, I'm also going to fix up so you don't have this many squares. Like the top here could be one entire square.
Yep, just as you started talking about squares, the entire window popped. Alright, okay, yep.
So we shall copy it now. So we have 1 and then 2. We shall lower this a little bit. There we go. Name, I don't know what you want to name these later, but bits on the side.
Well, you've got I suppose body for like the main body, and then you've got bouncers, I suppose, for the edges, and the top is actually the plates. That helps.
Okay. So plates. Now, do you want them all to be, all these plates be one entity, or do you want them all to be separate?
I suppose you just need one, because I can just basically render and rotate, can't I?
Mm-hmm.
It would make it a heck of a lot easier for texture mapping.
Shh. Who needs texture mapping? Just make it a solid color and go on. That's what I've been doing.
Because what I'd be doing is I'd actually be mapping the the stone pressure plate.
Yeah. Oh goodness, it's hard to see. Okay. I know what I want selected, but man, that's hard to choose.
Yeah, and you know what you're doing.
Somewhat.
Well, technically I know what I'm doing as well, I just don't know how to actually do it in Blender.
Yeah, and I can't blame you.
I assume you were just selecting all the points of the edge on that.
In this case,
I suppose
I'm inverting
you could probably do exactly the same with the edges as well, with the bouncers. I only technically need one.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I didn't think you needed
That'd
the
make your life easier.
Yeah, you can scale it and make it so it goes in if it's charging or powered or something as well.
Yeah.
But
I was more thinking I'd like pull in the edge of it if there was a solid face on the side of it.
Yeah. Make it a pressure plate at the same time for a block detector. I need to get on that, by the way. I meant to make a model for that, but I forgot to. Yeah, but right now what I'm doing is I'm selecting or deselecting all of the bits that we want to keep on this particular model.
Yep. So, was it the highlighted ones are kept, or the currently selected ones, and then you just hit delete or something?
Yep. And we'll delete all vertices. And I'll take the faces and edges with it, connected to those vertices. So that should be good. Delete. Alright, so you see an outline of the other parts of the model. And these are owned separate entities. And now what I'm going to do is go to each one of these bits. I really didn't need to save this, but go on. Paint the vertices we don't need to keep anymore. Actually, let's hide everything else. So now we can connect this with just one face, rather than have all the squares. So when you UV map this, you can just texture this one face.
Yep.
Which is much nicer.
Does that actually have all four sides, or does it only look like that because you're wireframe?
It should. Yeah. Are you talking about like this little side here? When you get saved.
Ah, there we go. Oh wow, that's actually slightly angled.
I think it's just a screen.
Yeah, that's weird. It's got
Yeah,
in it,
I
unlike
saw that
everywhere
too,
else.
but I was just going to ignore it.
Maybe the normal's the wrong way around?
Oh, yeah, you can fix normals in a minute. There's a recalculate normals, which is so nice.
So yeah, it's one of these things where you're doing that like really, really quickly, and because there's no indication on the screen of which keys you're actually pressing, it's impossible to learn from it.
Alright, so...
Which is the same as most YouTube videos as well.
Yeah, so I'll actually give it to you. Basically, I select the vertices I want to make a face on, and once I have something like a box in this case, it can either be a square or a triangle. I hit the key F for faces, and it adds a face. If I just have 2 points connected, it will make an edge. If I had a triangle, it will make that triangle a face, but it won't go any higher as that's not rendering.
Cool.
So that's basically how I've been making all my models lately. I just get a vertice. Shift D is duplicate, so I can just select a vertice and make a new one, as I really don't know how to make a vertice. Alright, so now we have our little bits on the side here. We will...
And yes, Chaos Inertia. I wish I did too. What is it he's making? He is currently editing one of the models that I'm going to be implementing in ChargePads as a replacement for the really rubbish square blocks I currently have. I believe it was Sprox. Made the model for me, and I have completely failed to do anything useful with it in Blender up until this point. But Soren knows Blender, so he's currently giving me a hand and explaining it to me as he does it.
As best I can.
Yes, for Minecraft.
Okay. It's just a wonderful feeling to be able to like paint all you.
I think if I had a legitimate version of like 3DS Max, I'd have this done months ago. 3DS Max I can use no problem whatsoever. That Lightwave, heck, to some extent, actually I had it up initially in Google SketchUp. I have to pay for an object exporter. It's
Really?
like, meh. Yeah. There are a couple of free ones, but rubbish.
Alright, so I'm hitting the C key to get a selection painter. And then when I want to deselect something, I can scroll my mouse wheel to make this area of effect larger or smaller. Middle key on my mouse deselects. And I'm only deselecting the ones we don't want to delete again. And hopefully that doesn't delete. Okay, there we go. We will go. I'm hitting the Z key for switching from wireframe to faces, and these are actually all mapped already. Interesting. And normals are all almost good. This one is a little bit dirt, so I will select all, recalculate, and voila, all normals are.
All right, so I was right when I was saying the hatched face is probably a normals issue.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't feel quite so dumb now.
So now that we have like separate,
it's unbelievable how unintuitive Blender is. It's like ridiculous.
And then we'll turn off the plates.
Like, sure, it's free, but still.
Let's see. We'll do the reverse in this one. Delete what we have kept before. Actually, I don't mind. Is this slanted at all in one? No, just on the corners. Okay.
There are probably 3 calculators open because he's like me and hits the button to like run it again before realizing he still has one open.
That, and it's right next to my home key.
Yeah.
And someone said something about 500.
Mine's my G18 key, which is right beside my control key.
And then someone said something about 500 chunks being 80 kilometers. So I was like, that's a little high. So I double checked it was 8 kilometers.
Yeah.
Just a significant difference.
Isn't there a way to like select a face and its vertices?
Yeah.
That would make your life so much easier. You
yeah,
just
it
click
would.
on the faces.
So there's a little button down here, yeah.
Yeah, because I figured that would make it a little bit easier to like select all those edges.
Shut up.
Or the buffers. Yep.
That's a shame. See? Guessing plus a little bit of knowledge with a little bit of knowledge equals edible friendship. Yeah, in this case.
Yeah. Like Tubbleworm, have you ever seen the learning curve for Eve? That's the learning curve for Blender.
Except one is more fun, I believe. I don't actually know which one.
I don't know. Blender could be quite fun once you've actually got past that initial learning curve.
Yep. Alright, so...
Crash ZX knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yep, he's seen that image.
Whoa.
Right, to give you guys an idea, 3ds Max at one point I used to use for a job. Lightwave I used to use on the Amiga before I had the job that switched me to 3ds Max. there have been 3 or 4 other pieces of software that are 3D editing pieces of software, including the editor inside Unreal Tournament, or Unreal, I suppose, the Unreal Engine. None of which I've had any problem getting to use and be up and running and doing stuff within 2 to 3 hours. I've smashed my face and keyboard off Blender for weeks, and I still haven't the blindest idea what I'm doing half the time.
Or do I?
It's like you spend days or weeks or something like that just trying to find out what the hotkeys are just to start getting the basics done. And then randomly find things as you go along. It's like, oh, that's what that key does, and hope you remember it.
Pretty much.
And God forbid if you actually like stop using Blender for like more than 2-3 weeks, as you go back to it and go, wait, what were the keys again?
Yeah, really. Alright, so what I've done here is took out all the squares and replaced it with one on top by just deleting all the vertices, taking the 4 corners and just hitting F. And now,
Joins them all up.
Yep. I'll do the same here by selecting these 4 on the side and make that little. I don't think it's a trapezoid, a rectangle. Same here, and same here. I keep missing, so occasionally you might see a random square going into the middle of the block. Alright, and then everything within these 4 corners selected should be deleted and then replaced with a face. So what I'm going to do is delete.
I do not live in America. I live in Scotland. Just happen to be awake at American hours. And Soren, American, and currently. Actually, are you back home yet? Or are you still in
I'll
Finland?
be in Finland for a while. But
yeah,
I mean, it's
so, yeah, Soren is American in Finland, and I'm Scottish in Scotland.
Amazing.
Yeah, funny how that works. And he is currently working on the model for a charge pad for my mod.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's awesome.
And
knows
like
how to use Blender.
And I like sharing. I should probably turn on music, but I'm kind of doing something. So yeah, just deleting all the random vertices that you don't need anymore. In a moment, I'll turn back on the other thing, the doodad, so we can see how that looks. Yeah.
Wait, so you deleted the faces, but it left all the individual vertex points in. What?
Well, because I'm deleting vertices. But I'm not deleting all the. I'm not selecting certain vertices by mistake. So, had I selected them and hit delete, yeah.
Weird.
It deletes the connections to those vertices. So if I delete one of these,
Alright, so if you delete all the connections to a vertex, it'll still like be there as a dot in the middle of nowhere.
If I delete that vertice, it will be deleted. But if there's a vertice connected to it, say I took a square and it has 4 vertices, I deleted 3, that last one would be there because you didn't delete it. That's the same as you type in a word and select all but one letter.
It's still daft because it's, yeah.
It's still confusing how to get there.
Never mind.
Alright. Yeah, I'm saving the bottom for last just because that's a lot of squares there. Okay, so these triangles are going to stay. These sides are not. So we don't need them. These all are going to go away. We're going to have about 5 squares, I think, on the bottom. Just because of the triangles on the side there. it's gonna look really weird. I missed 2 vertices.
And it's not that they're new charge pads. This is going to be the shape of the existing charge pads. Which is going to make it fun for texturing the tops.
Now, are you gonna use the chicken core or the chicken bones auto loader, or are you gonna use forges?
I don't know.
There you go.
Honest, I'll probably use CBs just because it's actually there's more you can do with it, especially when it comes to groups and animations of them.
Have you seen this in World yet?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, I'm gonna fix something real quick for you. X. Just because that won't be fun to deal with later. X.
What was wrong with them?
If you use CBs, I know Y is up, which means the green line here is what you want to face up towards. Tell it's down. Okay, so think of this as the bottom now, minus all the weirdness. So it's the same thing. Just
can't you just like design it normally with the same axes and then just export it using different things? Because that's how I saw Chicken do it when he was working on the translocators.
That has been
he
done.
He just exported it with the axes going the right directions.
If that has been done, then I will ignore it.
Or it was he exported it with certain things, and then when he actually renders it in World, he does the Y is thingy conversion. Or swap, was it swap XY or swap XZ or swap YZ or something?
YZ is what I use, and I render Y is up. But I mean, yeah, if it can be done in code, then I'll leave it as is.
Yep. It's just knowing you have to actually do that swap is a big one.
Whatever. What you?
There's nothing really to spoil as to what the charge pad is for.
It ironically
out there,
charges
already
you.
Work. This is just a graphic. Yeah, it's just a graphical change.
Wow! 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 Okay, I think this is good to go. You have 3 different ones: plate, pad, and bouncers. I will save this. I'll save the charge pad too.
I have a copy of the Blender, so feel free to just save over it. Or not.
Yeah, I already saved it by the time you said that. Yes, I did the textures because we were waiting on Rorax to do tank textures so Chicken Bones could do something for XyCraft. And I was like, alright, can I just make the tank textures? It's like, okay. Yeah, I think so. So I made them, and he's like, okay, I'll go with them.
Blender over Techni? Yes, day of the week. And that's from somebody that can't use Blender.
To be fair, though, Techni...
Blender is on so different level. If you can actually get to the point where you can use Blender over Techni, then as an aspiring artist, that will help you if you're actually seeking employment using 3D tools. Because if I had somebody turn around to me and go, yeah, I can use like Lightwave or God, what's the name of it? Maya, then I'd be like, okay. If somebody can turn out the same level of object in Blender as someone can output in Maya, That Blender modeler as a person is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, also, technically, I mean, you can use it, but there is no future foresight with it. I mean, you can only do squares, cubes, unless you do nitro thingy or turbo. I don't know, and that's not even useful. You can do things with Blender like
Uh,
this. Most of my mod is turning into a 3D mod just because I'm getting tired of 2D textures. A diamond plate? Look, it's shiny. Just be a diamond plate.
um, the whole sort of like choosing what you want to like set it off type thing. If I'm not mistaken, the arcane plate in Thaumcraft can do that, which is specifically why I didn't do that.
Yeah, but they don't want to do research. This is not a new. Well, I guess I also did a new texture, but it's not just a new texture. It's a 3D model. So let me get back to that.
At least the sort of Morphe effect on the 3D models isn't so fast as will like cause JD to like die or something.
Well, no, that's a completely different animation.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But have a tendency to make your animations really quick.
I've only made one that was really quick. Can't call that a tendency.
That's a tendency.
No, my best one is this.
I'm just
Come on, man.
messing with you because I can.
Why can you be so mean? And before people say this is a portable
Practice.
tank, it's not. Yeah, I know. This is not a portable tank. This is a test for a container. There will be one, and there will be a way to make plugins, but that comes later. I mean, that's already in it. I have an app plugin, and you can control it. And this way, if you crash, it won't stop the game, but it will at least say this mod author should be talked to better improve mod or something like that. As when you register a plugin for XyCraft, you also put in your username or your name that you release your mod with. Crash, just use an anvil and a chest. The link to donate is the picture of that little tablet. I should probably change that because I have that tablet now, or I have a Surface Pro. Which I don't think I showed these well yet. The TVs are in. And this stick. Poke it with a stick. Poke it with a stick. Poke, 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 poke. Yeah, I'm making a block breaker that's ideally similar to red power, except it's more or less like I want one thing red power to be added for the tips. Iron pickaxes should not be able to break obsidian. So if you modify it with a diamond, it can now break obsidian. Modders will be able to say, okay, there's a higher tier than diamond. Here's a material that can break it, and you can add it to the block breaker. But all my machines, I thought it was funny to make it rotatable by a stick. Poke it with a stick and it works. Who needs a wrench when you have a stick?